warning in an attempt to curb recent calls to censor and remove Joe Rogan, who they have a $100 million multi-year deal with. The popular host of the Joe Rogan Experience has faced growing criticism after interviews with skeptics of the COVID-19 vaccines. Backlash began earlier this month when nearly 300 medical professionals wrote an open letter requesting for the podcast to be removed. And now music artists such as Neil Young and Joni Mitchell taking their songs off the platform. And
interested in telling the truth. I'm interested in finding out what the truth is. And I'm interested in having interesting conversations with people that have differing opinions.
Well, welcome back to my channel. You're talking to William B. Strong here. One of the most controversial things of the last couple of days, which you may or may not consider to be of interest, controversial or not, is Joe Rogan. Did the podcast and television show channel guy, the Joe Rogan Experience, did he get woke up? And I think that's the real question. Now, some of you out there may not even have a clue who Joe Rogan is. All right. Now, I have to admit to you, I didn't know who Joe Rogan was until my son actually turned me on to this guy and told me to watch some of his stuff on YouTube. So that was I think earlier this year, maybe. No, it was last year, actually. It was in 2021. I tuned in on a few of them. I'm not a regular fan of his. But I do know this about Joe Rogan, okay? And Joe Rogan was a stand-up comic. Joe Rogan was in the UCF, MMA fighting world. And then somehow, and I'm not sure exactly when he started his Joe Rogan Experience on the media and became a media guru. I mean, this guy's a god in the media. He's got I think he's got like 10 million subscribers and viewers, not only to his podcast, but, just millions of subscribers on his, I think he has still a channel on YouTube. I think he's still on YouTube. Okay. So this guy is a little bit of everything. But one thing he does do very well is he's a pretty good interviewer. I mean, he's an intelligent guy. He sits down. He talks to people. Now, who are these people? The people he brings on his show usually have accomplished something, and it may be something of significance that you've heard about. But on the most part, it's usually more bizarre stuff. Okay? He could have on a fighter from the MMA or the UCF, UFC, I guess it is. He could have on a guy talking about aliens. Okay, he has on very controversial type people on his shows. That's how he's got started. That's how he's built his platform. So because he had some difficulties. And he never, I don't believe he ever was suspended, but he couldn't quite express himself as much on YouTube, on the YouTube platform. Joe Rogan gets involved with Spotify. Now, Spotify basically signed him to a contract. Okay, Spotify was a big music download service, and I'm not a Spotify subscriber. I've never been a subscriber. I'm really not that familiar with their channel. Spotify, you can play any type of music from your favorite artist. And I think they have a subscription service. They may even have some free type of service. Joe Rogan joins forces with Spotify to the tune of what I've heard is about $100 million. So with that contract, he goes on there and he continues to run his controversial guests at times. He runs, his interviews, his interviewing show. That's what he does. So, what has brought us to this point that I'd even be talking about this guy right now? Well, Joe Rogan had on a couple of medical or health-related doctors. Okay, I don't know if they were medical doctors or PhD type doctors, but two of these people, and you can still go and watch them. You know, they're on his episodes if you pull him up on YouTube. These two doctors were controversial because they're basically do not believe in COVID-19 vaccine. And therein lies the problem. Nobody's ever aired any issues with Joe Rogan or Joe Rogan's talk shows except when it comes to COVID. Joe Rogan has expressed some anti-vaxxing sentiments, his personal opinions, and he had on these two medical types that also said some controversial, I'll say controversial or thought-provoking types of presentations on their part. They are not in favor of vaccines. They preach against vaccines. And obviously, because of the nature of COVID-19 or, whatever we're calling it today, the COVID controversy has to be one of the biggest ones in the world and the United States. Joe Rogan had these people on, lengthy interviews with them, and it stirred the pot. It stirred the pot. Not only him bringing them on, but him giving his own feelings about vaccinations or other types of treatments which he's been involved with. A particular physician got notice of this. There's trolls that follow different people, conservative types, especially those anti-vaxxers, and they dropped some of these episodes to this doctor. This doctor then got 200 or 300 other medical professionals involved who all wrote a letter saying that Mr. Rogan should be sanctioned. They sent this letter to Spotify, his boss. That's his boss. That's who holds the contract. And did I say $100 million contract? And thus the controversy was on. Spotify, they wanted him taken off the program. They wanted him taken off Spotify. They wanted him fired. This is the woke crowd. This is the crowd that if they don't like what you say, they're going to make it rough on you, and they're going to put pressure on the corporate sponsor or the corporation that owns you. In this case, Spotify. Spotify did not take Rogan down, not to this date. And today is the 2nd of February? I think it's the 2nd of February. I lost track of time. They have not taken him down. They've given no intentions they're going to take him down. Why would they take him down? He's their number one guy on their program. Number one guy. He brings millions of viewers to their podcast streaming service, which is more valuable to them now than the musical part of the service. So they came to an agreement, and he gave an apology to any news agency that wanted to air it. This apology, in my opinion, I watched it. It was watered down. He made some decent statements. He said basically, listen, I bring on controversial people. I'm going to continue to bring on controversial people. And if you don't like it, you can not watch the program. But I'll also try to bring in more balance. I'll bring in other people maybe to debate them a little bit. Okay? I don't have any problem whether he brings people on to balance them or not. My opinion is this guy has a right to bring on controversial people. He's brought on all types of people, from the killing of JFK controversies and conspiracy theories, to aliens. Are there other worlds out there? He's not afraid to make us a little uncomfortable. And people that are a little uncomfortable with stuff won't watch it. Other people find it really interesting. Ask his millions of listeners and viewers. So in my opinion, he's done really nothing wrong to apologize for. But I understand his logic that Spotify, who owns his rights basically and holds his contract, he doesn't want to lose $100 million contract. That's substantial. So he gave I would say, if you want to call it an apology, fine. He gave a statement. He gave an explanation of what he tries to do on the air and that he'll try to do a little bit better. Spotify said anything dealing with COVID, they're going to put a label on the program saying there may be controversial views given. But anybody he brings on, anybody can give controversial opinions that you as the viewer or listener may not agree with. Okay? There's a lot of things I don't agree with. You could drop me comments. I may not agree with them, but I'm going to air them. That's okay. That's what my program's about. I want differences of opinion. But this is the woke mentality. So Joe Rogan has run head on into the woke mentality of what's going on in this country, in the United States. That if someone doesn't like what you do or what you say, they will attempt to take you down. Okay? They will attempt to take you down. I had my own experience on Twitter. William B. Strong is no longer active on Twitter, not because I didn't want to do it. It's because Twitter took me down just prior to the holidays. There was some chatting going on there that MSNBC was ripping Rittenhouse. The young guy who ended up shooting a couple of people up in Wisconsin. I put out a comment to one of the MSNBC analysts, and I said, well, you're not hollering when the rioters were looting and burning down places in the United States, and I hope they don't come to your house. Based on that statement, somebody must have complained to Twitter, and they took me down. They said, well, if you want to agree that you were wrong, we'll put you back up immediately, or you can appeal. Well, I did nothing wrong. I gave a statement, freedom of speech. I didn't call out anybody's name or address or tell people to go to a specific place to do harm to anybody. I didn't say that. Okay? So I said, I'm going to appeal. Where do you think that lies today? No answer. I've got no status back, no appeal of what's going on with my appeal. Nothing. So I sit in limbo, just like a lot of other people have been taken down. When they don't like what you have to say, these platforms can take you down. That's censorship. That's not freedom of speech. That's clear and outright censorship. Who are the people that take you down? Is it some 25-year-old right out of some Ivy League school who decides, oh, I guess this guy is not worthy to be on our station? And then they don't even give you an answer. It's outrageous. It's outrageous. And as a final note, the people that started to put pressure on Spotify were some of the artists, the musical artists. Who are these people? Neil Young. Now, I've heard of Neil Young. I can't tell you one song that Neil Young has written or sung. I just don't know who the guy really is. Okay? Joni Mitchell. I have no clue what her songs are. All right? These are the couple of people said they were going to pull their music. Well, how much will a corporation stoop down to these types of woke views from the left? And I'm not left, I'm not right. I'm an independent, and I'm always going to tell you how it is. But that's what the Joe Rogan controversy is. And in my opinion, he did nothing wrong. He's given a satisfactory statement how he's going to correct and balance his shows. And he's going to continue to have controversial guests that you out there may or may not like. So if you can't handle the opinion of other people, you may not want to go on these types of sites, including mine. This is William B. Strong, and I'll see you down the road.